Hey, good morning everyone. My name's Diana and you're watching A Seasoned Mom and an Empty Nest. And I have been cleaning out my freezer and my refrigerator. And I thought today would be a really good day to make some chicken broth. While I was cleaning out the freezer, I discovered I only have one jar of chicken broth left. And I have a lot of chicken bones and I have some celery in the refrigerator that is on its last leg and some carrots that really need to get used up. So I thought this is probably the best time to go ahead and get some chicken broth started in the crock pot. So last week when I took my mom down to New Mexico to stay a week, I made a pan of enchiladas to send down there so that they wouldn't have to cook. So before we left, we had a rotisserie chicken in the refrigerator and I didn't have time to debone it, so my mom stuck it in the freezer. And yesterday I thawed it out and then I deboned it and used it to make another pan of enchiladas that I already put back in the freezer for another day. And so I have all the bones from the rotisserie chicken as well. So I'm going to use the bones from two different chickens. So basically, the way I do my chicken broth is I put it all in the crock pot. My onion skins, and I just put them in the bottom of the crock pot. And I have another onion here that I will peel the skin off and use it as well. You can use whatever vegetables you want to. I use the onion peel because it gives it a really beautiful color. So it's kind of a brown. You can see it's still frozen. But it gives it a really pretty caramel color when you do. So I like to use the peel of my onion. And then I just cut up some celery and I'll just throw that into the crock pot. I also cut up some carrots and I just stick that right straight in the bottom of the crock pot. I don't dice my onions up too fine. I just chop them up in sizes like that. This is a pretty stout onion, so my eyes are starting to water. It's a good thing I don't have to dice it up really small. And then after that, I've got in the bottom of this, I have my carrots, my celery, and my onions, and my onion skin. And then I just take the bones that I saved and place it right on top. This is such a great way not to waste your food. So this is what's left of when I cooked the chicken that was in the Instapot for my enchiladas. And I just pour all of that right on top. Okay, so now let me show you this real quick. Okay, so that is the bones of two chickens and the celery, carrots, and onions, and the onion skin. So the next thing that I'm going to add is the chicken broth that I saved. I saved all this out of the Instant Pot, and I just put it in the freezer in a container, and I'm going to pour it over the top. There's some bones in that as well. And then I probably should go ahead and add just a little bit of water to this. I'll rinse out the bowl this way. So I'm just going to add some water to the top of this. If you didn't save your chicken broth, don't worry about that. Just use plain water. It's not necessary. I just saved mine because that's just how I am. But I've made it before without using any chicken broth. I just stuck a whole bunch of bones in the freezer, and one day I got all the bones out. I didn't have any reserved chicken broth to use. I just used plain water, and I've done it that way many times. It's the only reason why I had any leftover chicken broth is because I just recently cooked a chicken in my Instant Pot that way. So I ended up saving the broth from that to use to make this. So don't worry about that if you don't have any. Just use plain water. It's totally okay to do that. And you can certainly add any kind of spices, you can add thyme, rosemary, anything else that you want to put in here. The more vegetables that you use, the better. You can use pretty much anything that you have. So this is what it looks like. I just filled it to about right here, and I'll go ahead and shut the lid. Turn on the crock pot. So I'll just let that cook overnight for 24 hours. The longer it cooks, the better. And so you can even let it cook up to 36 hours. Just depends on when you want to go ahead and put it up in your jars and get it ready for the freezer. So I'll be back tomorrow and I will show you the process of finishing it off. And we'll see you then. Good morning, everyone. The broth is done. And I just did it for 24 hours because I have big plans today. I'm gonna go shopping. So Hobby Lobby is open and I haven't been in Hobby Lobby in several months. So I'm gonna make a trip to Hobby Lobby this morning, but I wanted to get my broth put up. Let me show you real quick what it looks like. So that's what it looks like. Looks pretty good. I've been letting it cool down, and what I'm gonna do is put all of the the vegetables and the bones and stuff over here into this strainer. So I'm just going to see if I put this right here. Just move all of this into the strainer. Now I have the strainer over a bowl so that see all the juice that just runs off of it when I pick up the stuff. Put it in the strainer and then let the juice run off into the bowl. Okay, so once I get all of it out, I just sit and turn this over and over in here, and if you look, you can still see some of the juices draining through. So I'm trying to save as much of the broth as I possibly can. So this is how much broth that I was able to strain out of the vegetables and out of the bones. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pour this through this strainer. And that's hopefully I don't make a big mess doing it. Make sure you're super careful because it is hot. I've let mine cool down for several hours actually. Oh, this is beautiful. There's a little bit left in the bottom of this pot. See? That's the meat that was on the chicken bones. And then I just lift this up. And strain what is there. This is going to be so good. It smells amazing. I wish you could smell my house. I opened up the basement door and came up the stairs and oh my gosh, it smelled heavenly in here. It definitely made my stomach growl right first thing in the morning. So this is how much broth I got out of that. And what I'm going to do now is I've got these jars that I washed in the dishwasher. So they're super clean. So all I'm going to do now is just take this ladle and ladle my broth right into the jars. And see that beautiful, beautiful color? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you leave enough head space in the top of this jar. I'm going to leave that much. I will let my jar sit out just a little bit longer to cool down. Right over here. And then I will put the lid on it. Well, actually, I'm going to leave that laying like that. When these are done, I will put them in the freezer. So out of that, I got these 2 size jars. I left enough room in here for them to expand while they're in the freezer. So with these, I cleaned off the top of the lid, and I will label them, and they will find their way into the freezer. And so there you have it. That's how I use up my chicken bones and celery that's on its last leg in the refrigerator. But instead of letting it go to waste, what I didn't use, I stuck out in the compost pile. Now, I won't put the leftovers here. I will not use this in the compost pile because it has meat and grease in it, and that's not good for it. Plus, it attracts critters, and we don't want that. So I am off to Hobby Lobby. I hope you enjoyed my demonstration on how to make your own chicken broth. Now, when you go to the grocery stores and the shelves are empty, just know that, no fear, you can make your own broth. You don't have to depend on the grocery stores for everything. So on that note, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and we'll catch you on the next go around. Bye-bye. God bless you.